It's like 2:15 in the morning, and you can't see me. I've had one of those days, where I just can't stay awake. I have been reading my Bible today, but in between, when I was able to wake up and fighting sleep and stuff, and I finally woke up in the evening, and I went back to reading my Bible and stuff, and I was like, okay, I got to the end of this chapter. I've not got much of this specific book in the Bible to read, and it's 1 in the morning, so I'm gonna get comfy and I'm gonna play my Switch until I fall asleep, and I'm gonna listen to a podcast. The mistake was listening to the podcast, and it was a podcast with, I think her name is Kendall Ray, and it's her husband. I think it's called Mile Higher or something. Anyway, they're talking about this case from the 80s, and that the person was allegedly found, and things didn't seem right with them. And from the description, see, now I'm gonna have to. I have to explain this so that things will be understood. If you've watched my older videos from last year, you'll see in some of them that I point out some symptoms. You'll also know that I started seeing a trauma specialist psych. Ever since I was little, I had these certain things going on. And I went through some really horrible things that were ongoing, and I went through those things and similar things until several years ago. And as a result of this stuff in my earlier years, I developed a disorder that is not very common. I have, I don't know how to say this, and I don't really want to say it, but I didn't plan on talking about it this soon, this early. I wanted to kind of come to grips with it and understand it a bit more and deal with things a bit more personally with my specialist before I started talking about it. So my diagnoses are complex post-traumatic stress disorder, borderline personality disorder, severe anxiety, depression, and an alleged eating disorder, which is up for debate. I also have a dissociative disorder that was recently confirmed, but I have known about it since I was little. I just didn't understand what it was until a few years ago, and it wasn't confirmed until last year. And I have a disorder that used to be known as multiple personalities. I have multiple distinct, separate personalities. And I have been aware of them since I was very young. I became fully aware of them when I was about 6 years old, 5 or 6. But I didn't understand what they were. And it's a long story about my awareness of it coming and going and all these different things, but now it has been confirmed that I do have these other personalities, these other parts of my personality that have split off from the main personality that I was born with, that was born in this body. And I'm listening to this podcast and I'm like, okay, well, I'm recognizing some of these things. Maybe it could be potentially or possibly be this because I recognize some of what I'm hearing, but it could also be other things because there is other dissociative disorders, there is other mental health things and mental illnesses and disorders and stuff that could cause similar symptoms to this. We're not hearing the full list of symptoms or any of that stuff, so we can't know. And then a few minutes go by and I'm still listening and I'm keeping this in the back of my mind, and then they go ahead and they say it. It sounds like DID or something. And then they start talking about DID. And they start talking, oh, you know, it used to be multiple personality disorder, blah, blah, blah. And it can be caused by this, and this, and this. Most of the things that they listed were actually incorrect. Most of the things that they were discussing about this disorder were incorrect. And I don't know what it is, but I just found that really hurtful and upsetting. Like, this disorder isn't caused by alcoholism, like they decided to inform everybody it could be. This disorder is caused by prolonged heavy trauma at a very young age. Before there's a certain age in a child where the personality forms and it becomes like a solid cohesive thing. After that point, you can develop other disorders that are like it and you can dissociate and stuff, but you're not going to have the same splitting. You're not going to have these other personalities come forward. You can have slight changes in your personality. You can have amnesia. You can have all these different things, but you're not going to specifically have these finite, factual, separate people created as fractures and splinters and chunks of what was meant to be a whole. And I turned it off because I couldn't. It wasn't an anger I felt, it was like a hurt. I was hurt. And I was scrolling through the comments and I saw somebody else say, I have this disorder, and you know, they express some things, and then there's comments under it saying, you know, that they were grateful that somebody with the disorder had commented and how they feel that this Kendall woman and her husband and their production team should have talked to people with the disorder before running with it. And there is so much misinformation of this disorder out there already from movies. Most people can't even pronounce dissociative. They call it dissociative, which is not the same thing. There was, if you look back on YouTube, and I don't advise people do this because there's so much really damaging and harmful information on YouTube. There is a whole thing that went down on YouTube, and then it caused like this whole big war in the mental health community over what's what and who's got what and who's faking and who's not faking, and it just we don't need that. People with mental health issues and disabilities and disorders and health conditions, we don't need that misinformation. We don't need to listen to people who know nothing, who haven't spoken to people who know anything, like living with it, because even like psychiatrists and specialists, they don't fully understand it, they're not living with it. A lot of them can't comprehend it, so they decide that they don't believe in it because they can't scientifically explain every little detail of it. There are so many little nuances, and it's not exactly the same for each person. Each person will have a slightly different experience with it, depending on the level of what they have, or if it's like I think it's called like OSDD or OSSD or something, and like there's different levels of conditions like this, and we don't need all that. Like, there's already enough issues with it, and if you remotely mention I have this disorder and somebody else, like from the main general community, sees that, they're going to be like, well, where's your medical records? I want to see this. You're faking it. She's faking it. He's faking it. This person's faking it. That person's faking it. I'm the only one who really has it, because I've noticed in the disability, chronic illness, and mental health communities, it is like the Olympics. Everyone is in competition to be worse off than each other, and it drives me nuts. Like, why would you want to be the worst off? Why wouldn't you want to be like, I'm so glad that I am this healthy, or I'm not as ill as such and such, or I'm not in as much pain, because I can't imagine having to deal with that. What I deal with is hard enough. And is there anything I can do to like be there for you who is suffering it worse than me? I know I can only understand it to the extent that I experience it, but like, Lord help me. We suffered enough, especially people with dissociative disorders. Like, we have suffered so much. In trauma disorders, we have suffered insane things that most people can't even comprehend as being real. And I've had people literally turn around to me when I've told someone about my trauma. This has happened multiple times, and they said, that doesn't happen to white girls, that doesn't happen in real life, that doesn't happen to white girls in the Western world, that doesn't happen anywhere except in movies and horror books. That didn't happen. Like, we've already suffered enough. Then we have people who don't believe the things that we've endured, and we have to live with the consequences and the symptoms of every day. And then on top of that, we have people who won't put in more than 2 seconds of research telling us about ourselves, and then when we correct them, we have other people come in and tell us that we're faking, or we have those people ignore us that we're trying to correct, or we have them come back and give us some, brush off excuse for why they didn't actually contact somebody with a disorder, look into channels about people living with the disorders, look into documentaries and there's so much information out there. Like, why? Why not just put in some effort? Like, it's not a gossiping point. Why not come to people with the disorder and be like, so what do you think of this situation? Does this ring true to you? And then take the majority and then add in as a side note what the others have said as well, and watch some documentaries, do some actual research. Like, are you kidding me? I'm so disappointed and hurt. And I'm not the kind of person to be like, that's offensive, this is offensive. Like, but this is damaging and hurtful. Like, you've literally just told people that if they are alcoholic for a prolonged length of time from their teenage years, that they'll develop DID, when that is factually not true. And I don't even know what on earth else they've come up with, because the few minutes that I could make it through of that, hoping that it would get better and that they'd be like, oh, well, we found out this and blah, blah, blah. I used to love true crime. And I didn't understand why, but now I do. I understand that it wasn't I loved it, it was a morbid fascination, because it helped me and the other parts of me kind of have a safe way to start to process what we had endured. And then you come across these channels who are in it for the drama and the gossip and the attention and the fan base and the subscriber count and whatever else they can get out of it, and maybe it starts as a genuine true thing. They want to help these families raise awareness and whatever, but then they turn into these facetious, I don't know if that's the right word, but they turn into these basically nothing more than a gossiping drama channel where they no longer care about facts and they no longer care about their audience. They might say that they do, but when it comes to their actions and their words and how they handle it, you can see that they don't really care, because they must have known that at least one person with DID who knew for a fact that they had it would be watching that at some point, and they'd hear all that, and that it would have an impact and an effect on them. And there was no warning that they'd be talking about this or the approach they take to it or anything. So it's like people who are still in a fragile state didn't have that warning to be like, oh, I'm not ready to hear these things. I'm still barely like able to like get myself to actually communicate in therapy or whatever the situation is. And I'm so tired of these things. Like on TikTok, it's all become buzzwords like trauma and triggers and this and that, when it's not a buzzword and it's not this little cool quirky thing to talk about on TikTok. It's like genuine, serious things that we deal with on a daily basis 24/7. It's not something to go on TikTok and be all like, check me out, I got this other trauma and I've got this trigger and oh my god, no. And then when all those people over there doing that, and then the people want to jump on board and be all like, oh my god, such and such is so triggering, but just because they're mildly upset by something. A trigger is a serious and heavy and intense, impactful thing. And with all this stuff going on TikTok and all this stuff going on channels who don't care about actual facts, it's removing the room and the space and the places that we have where we aren't bombarded with misinformation about ourselves, without all these different things. And it's not just about DID, it's the BPD, it's all of these different conditions. People with them are being pushed out unless they are falling into the bandwagon of look at me. And I didn't want to talk about this yet. I didn't want to talk about this for a long time. If ever, like, I was okay, like, you know, explaining, oh, such and such is a symptom that I'm dealing with. I'm not tired, or this isn't actually happening. It looks like it, but this is actually going on at the moment. I like giving those little windows into daily life with the conditions I have. But now to explain this, because I just need to get it out, because it is bothering me so much. I've had to go and disclose something that I didn't want to disclose yet. I wanted more time to deal with my situation, our situation with our specialist. I wanted more time to get comfortable with it, to fully accept it, even though that's not entirely possible, because there's like a whole denial, there's like a cycle and you go into denial sometimes and stuff, and it's like a protective mechanism in the brain to be like, no, I can't have that, that's, no, it's not happening, and all, like, you go into denial about other intense things that have harmed you and stuff. And I wanted time to like get on top of life and for a while and kind of get myself into some form of better existence. And I wanted to understand my specific situation more and have, and work on the coping mechanisms and whatever else. I wanted those things. I wanted to work on this more and then be like, come out when I was ready and be like, so a while ago I started seeing a specialist and this and that, and it's been confirmed that I have this condition and this is how it affects me, and so on and so forth. And I'm gonna say that maybe I won't even post this, but the thing is, I know I will post it because it's cathartic. Like, it's the for me, this is like the equivalent of writing down something and then you burn it to like relieve yourself of it. Or like you talk to somebody and now it's no longer just on you. Like somebody else knows, somebody else heard it, somebody else can be like, oh, I understand what you're dealing with, whether it's the same situation or a similar situation. It's not just on you anymore. It's not just bottled up, and yeah, it's on the phone, but that it's still bottled up just in my own little bottle. And that's why sometimes I post things that people might normally be like, why would you post that? And it's like, it's not necessarily for people to view and watch and for numbers and whatever else. It's not about that. It's there is for me to like get it out and put it somewhere that is at a bit of a distance from me, and then if people see it, that's okay because I know it's public. But at the same time, it's not just crammed into my chest and into my head. But it's not specifically out there for people to be like flocking to. It's like, if you come across it, okay. If you watch all of my videos, okay. I can't. I don't even know what I'm feeling. It's not like a rage anger, it's like a hurt anger. But it's not really an anger as I usually understand anger to feel. I don't know what to call it, but I'm feeling it. Lord, give me strength and help me. There's comfort in you, Lord, and I need you. I need your comfort. this won't be out for a while, and I'll have time to calm down, and maybe I'll even have forgotten about it or blocked it out, or maybe by the time this is posted it won't even be me. It might be another part who actively posts it, because it's not just me who plays Dreamlight Valley, who does the channels, who edits and uploads and stuff. Like, we all take turns. Well, most of us do. Like, the ones who are like frequently about, and we have like a set way that we do things so that everything's as cohesive as possible. But, you know, this is just the reality of people not making an effort when they have videos that should have, that not just should have, but need research, and a lot of research, and all the research that they talked about doing, they didn't spend more than 2 minutes researching this disorder. Like, that is just such a disservice to people like me and the others who have this disorder, and the different sister disorders, and the different, you know, related disorders, and any other health issues, to be honest. Like, if you can put all that research in, and then you're going to throw in this theory, don't you owe it not just to your own channel and video / vlog / podcast, but to the victim, to the family, to the people who live with the condition daily, to put in more than 2 minutes of very badly done research? Like, is that what we deserve? Is just 2 minutes of kindergarten level research? I'm sorry, but going on Google Images and typing in DID, dissociative identity disorder, multiple personality disorder, and, you know, reading a few diagram quotes and showing them on screen is not research, especially when you try and start putting your own opinion on it. That is not how something like this should be handled. No matter what condition or health issue or situation it is, when you're dealing with something that's so heavy and it involves other people and not just your own personal experience, and in fact has nothing to do with your own personal experience, none of your content has anything to do with your own personal experience, you have to put in the effort and the time and the consideration. Like, it's different when you have a vlog and you're just talking from your experiences and your point of view and what you've learned through your specialist or your medical or whatever it is, or your college professors. Like, when you're talking about yourself and you're focusing on things that are going on in and around you and in your life, at most you only need a little bit of research. But because it's coming from things you live with, you're giving that perspective. But when it's nothing to do with you or your life or anybody you know or any of those things, you need to put in that extra effort. You need to go, I mean, they're called mile higher. Like, you need to go several miles higher and above and beyond when you're doing things like this. I'm just gonna keep going round in circles with this because I'm just so disgruntled, and just the audacity, like, that'd be like me coming on here and talking about, you know, whatever they deal with in their private lives with absolutely no experience or research or anything. And if I was a big channel doing that and then they came across me, like, oh Lord. And they sit there acting like they're qualified to talk about this stuff. Like, they don't specifically say that they're qualified to talk about it, but the way they present themselves, the way they speak on it, the way they address it, the way they approach it, it's like, oh yeah, we know everything, this is how it works, this and that, and it does this and such is that way. It's like, how do you have the gall to do that? It's just disgusting to me. Like, it's genuinely disgusting to me. Like, if it was me and I was to talk about, say, hypothetically schizophrenia, I'd reach out to somebody who I know who has schizophrenia. I'd ask, hey, can we talk about this? Can I ask you questions? And then I'd be like, would you want to do a video with me and explain it to us, what it's like, how it works, you know, all these different things. Like, I wouldn't just be like jumping in, oh, I know this and I know that and la da da. I honestly, I'm just gonna go because my mind can't grasp the level of whatever the HL little hockey sticks that was. Like, my brain just cannot grip it and grasp it, and like, it's just so surreal to me that somebody would do that. And the sad thing is, I also know that things like that happen every day on the internet with bigger creators and bigger platforms and whatever else it is. Like, it's not just you. Like, you have a partner, you have an entire like production team for research and stuff. Like, do your job. You're getting paid for your content. Like, not only are you getting paid by YouTube, but you've also got merch, you've got your side things that you promote, like, you're getting sponsorships, you're all these different things, and you don't put in even a day of research, which is the least it deserves, because even professionals are still trying to figure out all the little details and the nitty-gritties and all the little nuances and all these different things. Like, my specialist, like, she dives into the deepest, darkest little realms that she can find related to her specialties and her training and whatever else, because she, not just because she wants to give her patients the best, but because she wants to know, she's a curious-minded person. She wants to understand everything she can, and then she's able to bring that and help. Like, this woman is that I see, she's absolutely amazing. I honestly didn't think that mental health professionals like her existed, and she has been working and treating people since literally the year I was born. And I'm nearly 33. She's been doing this for nearly 33 years. And she's an absolute powerhouse at it. Like, she is. And she hasn't lost her compassion and her empathy and her desire to help and her understanding and the care. And she's not lost any of that. She's not become jaded. And we all like her. We enjoy our sessions with her. Like, even when they're heavy and we struggle, we enjoy our sessions with her. Like, they could have at least talked to, like, somebody who's, like, a counsellor for dissociative disorders, or spoken to somebody who, you know, has worked around people with them, or any number of things. Just speak to somebody. Read some blogs, watch some vlogs, read some papers and articles and this and that. But no, you just literally Google image search some stuff, read off a few of the things there, completely misunderstand them, and then shove them online like, yeah, I know everything. Where is the humanity? We already live with enough stigma. Like, there is so much stigma that they changed the name. And now people are like, let's just keep piling it on, but make it worse than before. Lord, have mercy on us all. And give us the grace to give people grace, and to put more effort into each other and into what we do. Amen. I'm gonna go because there is absolutely nothing more I can say. Because at the moment it's all feelings, and just like, did I actually just witness that? I think my brain might actually be in shock from what I just witnessed, and I'm just not able to like put it into real words, and I'm already not the most eloquent person. Yeah, that's the start to my day. Anyway, I love you, God loves you, Jesus loves you, the Holy Spirit loves you, and I hope that you stay safe. I hope that you take care of yourselves and others around you, and I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing night, and an amazing weekend. I'll see you all soon. Bye.